Yo, what's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? What is going on? How's everybody doing? Tariff Wednesday, guys. Tariffs happen today. How are things playing out and how will they continue to play out? We're going to have a look at it, guys. Your boy with the first super chat. First again. I'm winning so much on first super chats. I'm getting tired. You're going to win so much. You're going to be tired of it. I can't win anymore. Nice, brother. Nice. I dig it, man. I dig it. Thank you so much, man. Let's get into the chat a little bit, and then we'll get into the news. Jordan, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Renee, hello. Yo, brothers and sister weirdos. Weirdos unite. Guys, as always, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel grow. Doesn't cost you a damn thing, so go ahead and do that. Jared, what's up, buddy? Watch today be a nothing burger. What's up, Robin? Everyone? Yeah, I mean, so far it has essentially been mostly a nothing burger, really. I mean, we had a decent little run up to about 87. What about 87,355? But we've since corrected down to 86,456. I don't know. Is Mr. T speaking today? Does he have some sort of? I thought he had some kind of big surprise for the crypto community today, for the crypto industry. I thought somebody told me that yesterday. William, what's up, my guy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Mario, what's up, buddy? Let's get this bull run by the horns. Yes, exactly. Blad's in the house. J Money, Bulbasaur coming at you. There she is, Gamma Goddess. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope today brings good news and the market has a positive response. If not, we buy the dip and we hold the line. Let's get this money. Absolutely. I already did a little bit of DCAing this morning. I put my buy alert over on the Patreon. M. Bayer, first is worst, second is the best. Well played, sir. Well played. That sounds like a challenge. That was good. That was a good one. Bruno, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. Shane's in the house. What's up? What's up? Studio Tech, what's up, man? Hunman, what's going on, panic sellers? I'm panic buying. Hell yeah, I will buy your fear. Absolutely. Maria, what's going on? Good to see ya. Jess, up, down, and all around. No one knows the way the wind blows. I'm so ready for this pump. This sideways crap is boring. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I was talking with someone last night about it, and I was saying that, like, these long, boring, mind-numbingly, just nothing burger time frames, right? That can happen for months. It's funny because 4 years from now, at this time, we're going to be sitting here and we're going to be talking about crypto again, right? And we're going to be in a similar structure where everything's going sideways for months on end. And everyone's going to say, oh, this has never happened. It's never been like this before. Because you forget, right? You do forget. We all have an instinctive, like, recency bias when it comes to this stuff, right? This happened in 2021 as well. It's just these long periods of boring consolidation where no one knew what was going to happen next. And, and the same thing will happen in the next bull run. Again, we'll sit there and we'll go, oh man, like, this is the worst. But you forget, right? You forget these times. So it's funny how that works. Ramona, good day today. Either way, buy or let's go. Absolutely. It's a win-win, baby. It is a win-win for us today. I agree. Just bought some more Jasmine. There you go. There you go. I love it. Expected it to be bloody. It may still be. Who knows? Who knows, right? I mean, the Bitcoin chart right now looks pretty healthy, actually. Looks pretty good. We're sitting above the 200-day right now. Can we close above the 200-day? Closing above 86 would be a good start today to moving in an upward trajectory. That would be a good start, right? So that's what I would want to see for today anyway, in the short term. But I don't know. Again, somebody tell me in the chat, is Mr. T okay? So yes, he is. He's speaking at 4 p.m. Okay, so he's speaking in a few hours. So he could listen. That could be everything right there. He could say some incredibly bullish things, and the market could feed off of that and really start to grow. Markets could really start to pump. Markets could respond, or he could say something about these tariffs that cause the markets to crash even harder, right? So that's why I said yesterday, anyone who's telling you right now that they know what's going to happen today or like what the price is going to do, full of it, right? It's just a guess. It's just a guess. Nobody knows what Mr. T is going to say except for Mr. T, and nobody knows how the markets are going to respond to what he says. We just have to wait and see, right? So it'll be interesting. I'm fascinated to see how things play out. Derek, what's up, man? Can you take a look at Mask Network? Would you invest in this project? Mask Network. Launched in 2021. It's got good tokenomics. I mean, just at a glance, based on what I see from the tokenomics and the market cap and, its all-time high and, probably. Good afternoon, Amazing Coins for you. What's going on, man? K-Rock, what's up? Oh, yeah, so he's speaking at 4 p.m. Okay, what's up? I think he talks at 3 Central. Okay, 4 Eastern. Okay. I don't think he speaks till after the market closes this evening. I'm getting mixed signals. Big Botto, what's up, buddy? Hit the likes, he says. Hell yeah, smash it, guys. Smash it good. Mike M, what's up, buddy? Hey, everyone. Got this powder ready. Hope it dips so my buy orders fill. There you go. Absolutely. Patreon live 2 to 4 p.m. Central tomorrow, correct? Yes, correct. Starting Thursday, tomorrow. Yes. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. How much are you putting in at a time, Rob, on your buy orders? Just a few $100. You're going to have to ask me over on the Patreon, brother. That's information that I provide over there. You know that. Second place, if first is the loser. So there's that. Did some DCAing. I went from XCN average of 2 cents 5, got it down to 2 cents. Nice. That's how we do. Lower those cost averages, baby. Let's go, Robert. What's up, buddy? Can't wait till this market pumps. Who knows when it comes this year. Let's go. Leo, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Jarrett, positive news would be great, but kind of hoping. Yeah, I'm real conflicted about it, to be honest with you, right? Like half of me feels like, man, I would love for it to go down because I got all this dry powder I'd love to deploy. But at the same time, I'd love to see it just start heading towards new all-time highs. And, I could just sprinkle my dry powder in as we go. So it's really a win-win, but I'm kind of torn. Yeah, Gamma Goddess, he's going to go live at 4 p.m. Eastern today. Daryl, what's up, man? Getting blasted with the snow, freezing rain in Ontario. Yeah, we got some snow here today too. It's not fun. I went for a walk to the store. I always go for a little bit of a walk around the neighborhood before I do these 1 o'clock live streams, because a lot of times I'm groggy and stuff. So I like to go for a little bit of a walk, kind of get the blood pumping, wake up a little bit, right? And we got snow, so I was getting blasted in the face with snow while I was walking. So yeah. Nicholas, what's up, big dog? Good to see you, brother. Doug's in the house. What's up? Tyler, how you doing, my guy? Mr. Johnny, what's going on? Studio Tech. Kat, good evening, Kat. Good to see you once again. Azreen, pumped for today. Let's go. Will this be dipping or ripping? I guess we shall see. Everyone's bag for some Jasmine today. Close to 1 cent. Do you think it will dip any lower? Depends. Depends on what Bitcoin does today. Double-edged sword for sure. Absolutely, man. Hey, Rob, I keep trying to catch you, but I can't talk on the Patreon. Listening while trying to put my daughter to sleep. Can you start posting on the Discord? Well, there's actually the lives starting tomorrow, Crypto. I don't know, whatever your picture is there. The lives starting tomorrow are actually going to be at between 2 and 4 p.m. On the Patreon for the month of April for Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you'll be able to catch them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Skim Babels, what's up, buddy? Paul, my dude, good to see you, buddy. Gain, bearish or dovish, Trump later. I'm gonna say dovish. Market's already looking pretty good. Will we see a reversal? Who knows? Gamma Goddess with the super chat. Are you going to show the live here today? You know what? I might do that. Yeah, we'll see if I can find a good link for it. Maybe I'll go live. Absolutely. Price prediction, 3 to 5 cents would be healthy. What's the temperature there? I think it's +2. Just something short, like going live, so we can get alerts. It should be notifying you because I made sure the notifications were on. I heard some countries are pivoting to lower their tariffs. Possibly, yeah. I heard that this morning too. We're actually going to get into it a little bit. Seems like a lot of YouTubers don't know nothing about Zebek and Jasmine. We're blessed to keep. Yes, exactly. We're blessed because we're in early. So absolutely, man. Absolutely. You're right, because once it takes off, everyone's going to be talking about it, right? Comment for the algorithm. I appreciate you, man. Good to see you too, man. Hope to see that reversal. Unleash this dry powder, cat. Do show it live if you can. I will. I probably will. If I can find it, then I'll absolutely do that for sure. All right, let's get into some of the news, guys. We got all caught up in the chat. Let's see what's going on out there. We got some videos to go over about. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this first, guys. Check this out. Binance gets caught again being greasy. Check this out.
Biggest crypto exchange on the planet just got exposed for mass liquidations on the market. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars worth of capital liquidated in the crypto markets over the past 24 hours. Hashtag boycott Binance has taken off as meme coins like ACT listed directly on Binance had mass liquidations as a direct result of them adjusting the way that they do leverage on their platform. A lot of people are sick and tired of the dirty tactics that Binance does to go ahead and cause huge losses in the alt market. The Binance launch pool, I mean, we had an example here. The gun token launched on Binance, 4% of its supply, which was 66% of all the supply out there, was directly on Binance's hands. And today, the price is down 40%. So your thoughts? Let me know. Biggest crypto.
I've been seeing that going viral too, guys. Binance, boycott Binance. I think they've messed with the market. They've messed with the community of crypto too much. People are fed up with Binance. There needs to be an SEC investigation into Binance. 100% there needs to be. Johnny, just hold, don't fold. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I love it. I love that saying. Just hold it, don't fold it. All right. What does Pompliano have to say about these tariffs? He says tariffs are working and most people just haven't realized it yet. Let's see.
Here's a hard truth for you. Tariffs are working and most people haven't realized it yet. You wouldn't know that if you read the mainstream media headlines. All you have to understand is the mainstream media keeps telling you the world's going to end. They say that the economy is on the verge of the next great global financial crisis. They predict that inflation is going to come raging back and your portfolio is obviously poised to lose big in the coming weeks. I completely disagree. None of that's true. In fact, the exact opposite's been happening. Inflation, according to Trueflation, which is a real-time alternative inflation measurement, it went from 3% back in December, and now it's dropped to 1.4% this week. That's a massive drop of more than 50%. Gasoline prices, those are at 4-year lows. Egg prices, they've fallen off a cliff as well. If someone's worried about inflation right now, in my opinion, they should question whether they actually understand how the economy works. Our biggest issue at the moment has nothing to do with economic acceleration. Our biggest issue is actually a potential economic slowdown. All this tariff talk has got people a little uncertain. But on top of that, we're now seeing foreign countries, Israel and Vietnam just yesterday, these foreign countries are dropping their tariffs against the US because they're anticipating the Trump administration's reciprocal tariff program. That program is supposed to be announced later today. The whole point of a reciprocal tariff is that it says to foreign countries, you can tariff us however you want, but we're going to match you. And so if you don't want us to tariff you, then make sure you're not tariffing us. And if you are going to drop your tariffs, we'll drop ours as well. Everyone put your gun back in your holster. It's pretty simple. The benefits of these tariffs don't stop there either. The 10-year treasury yield, which the administration continues to say, that's the key metric, 10-year treasury yield, it's been falling over the last few weeks. That yield has not broken below 4% yet, as you can see in the chart, but I believe that we're going to get there to that milestone. Now, the government, why do they care about that 10-year treasury yield? They need to refinance trillions of dollars of debt this year. And of course, home buyers, they want lower mortgage rates. Businesses, they want cheaper capital available to them. And so we're going to get that 10-year treasury yield down one way or another. Tariffs are a big part of that. They're definitely helping the situation. And so to recap what's happened over the last few weeks, we went ahead and we announced initial tariffs. Everyone freaked out. Now we've got the reciprocal tariffs on the way. And what happened in response is that prices actually went down of goods. Inflation, that's plummeted. Yields went down. And some countries now have taken down their tariffs against the United States as well. This is what winning looks like. But before people accuse me of being some partisan hack, it's very important to me that I remind you, I'm not pro any political party. I don't care about Republican, Democrat, or anything else. I'm a registered independent. I take my allegiance to independence very seriously. Each administration has pros and cons. There were some good things done by the Biden administration. Remember, the stock market just kept going up and to the right. Everyone loved that. But they also did some really dumb, bad things as well. The same is going to be true of the Trump administration. No administration, regardless of what side of the aisle, can be perfect. The current administration, I believe, has very strong economic policies, and those policies are good for American citizens. There's definitely going to be things that you can disagree with them on other issues, but when it comes to the economic policies, I completely agree with what they're doing. The world's not black and white. It's gray. And so you've got to be able to look at a candidate or an administration and decide, what do I agree with them and what do I not? Now, of course, that's not how critics are going to act. They're going to be yelling and screaming about these tariffs, but that doesn't change the facts. Tariffs are working. They're making America stronger, and they are protecting the working class. They're creating an even playing field for international trade. And tariffs are a big reason why the United States has a potential path so that we can refinance our government debt at a lower interest rate this year. We pay way too much in interest expenses for the federal debt, and so we need to get that down. Now, personally, I'll give up some short-term gains in my portfolio if it means that tens of millions of Americans, they'll get a better shot at finding stable work. They'll be able to feed their families. They can afford a home, and maybe they can even benefit from lower consumer prices. Tariffs are something that people are now scared of because the media has brainwashed them into thinking that tariffs equal bad. But that's actually not the case. Instead, tariffs are going to bring back American jobs. Tariffs are going to lead to lower prices, not higher prices. And inflation, you don't have to worry about that right now. We got the opposite problem of a potential economic slowdown. And so, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you think for yourself, you think independently, you think critically. Go do the work. Go research what happened in 2018 with the tariffs and understand that economic calamity is not on the way. Instead, the exact opposite. I think that we're laying the foundation for a very strong American economy, and that's going to allow us to then go and see the stock market go back to all-time highs. Crypto will go back to all-time highs, and ultimately, you'll see people make more money, have more money in their pockets, and quality of life will continue to increase.
I agree, guys. I did look back. We've talked about it over on the Patreon. I did look back on why. There I am. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I look back on 2018, and we've talked about this over on the Patreon, right? Just about how he did the same thing with tariffs back in 2018. And shortly after we got through the whole tariff situation back then, the market went parabolic, right? So I have to agree with what Pomp has to say here, guys. Like, if you look back in history, this worked in the past. It seems to be working now. And when we have these tariffs in the rearview mirror, right? Let's say a month from now, 2 months from now, however long it takes, right? Markets are going to respond in a very, very positive way, in my opinion. So yeah, I have to agree with Pomp on that. All right, what else do we have? So we've got this article here. So Mr. T, tariffs live. Bitcoin price rallies to $87,000 on Liberation Day. Cryptocurrency markets are experiencing fluctuations as traders brace for Mr. T's Liberation Day announcement, which is expected to introduce reciprocal tariffs targeting 15 countries. The U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bassett confirmed that the announcement will take place at 4 p.m. in Washington time. I believe that's Eastern, right? In the White House Rose Garden. Despite the looming uncertainty, Bitcoin remains strong. At press time, Bitcoin has gained more than 2% and is trading at 86,700, which is roughly where it is right now. BTC jumped as high as 87,300 before hitting a reverse. The leading cryptocurrency is currently breaking out of bullish flag patterns, with the Ichimoku cloud above appearing thin, suggesting that BTC could maintain momentum and push higher. However, short-term volatility is anticipated due to the tariff news. If Bitcoin faces rejection at 85.4, it's above 85.4 right now. It's at 86.5 right now. Then it could start to retrace. It could potentially head towards the next support around 80,000. If the market reacts negatively to the tariff announcements, BTC could test $77,000, a price point it touched in late February. So it really comes down to what Mr. T has to say this afternoon about the tariffs and how the markets perceive what he says, right? So it's going to be interesting, guys. All right, we got another video to get into here, but first, let me try to catch up in the chat a little bit. They replaced CZ with yeah, I agree. Tyler, please go down. I'll get enough dry powder in the middle of this month. Yeah, well, it all depends, brother. It all depends. Shane, gas and egg prices low. Where? Not in Cali. Took out a 20K loan for this. I'm going all in. There you go. Gas is $2.57, and eggs are $2.29. Wow, it's crazy. Eggs are more expensive than gas. That's crazy. In at 2017, still holding XCM. There you go, man. There you go. Danny's in the house. What's your price prediction for Nadix? I already answered that question. Hey, bud, the collaboration last night was dope. Hey, thanks, brother. Yeah, I gotta get him, and I gotta get Rule Black and Max on the channel more often. Eggs have dropped massive here. They were up to, wow, $11. Wow. Gerald, what's going on, buddy? 20K on the line or spread out. Yeah, there you go. Binance delist mask. I have no idea. It dropped 35% today. Maybe they did. I haven't seen. I have to look into it. Binance shot itself in the foot. Yes, I agree. Rob can donate a new suit and tie to Pompliano. Yeah. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right, what else do we have? Guys, if you're not over on the Patreon, get over there, guys. Book your one-on-ones while you can. All right, let's get into this here. Universal tariffs are really just a huge tax on U.S. consumers and could derail the economy when thin. Let's check it out.
Of tariffs, which is dampening sentiment towards the dollar and prompting investors perhaps to look elsewhere for trading and strategies. Joining us now is Win Thin, Global Head of Currency Strategy at Brown Brothers Harriman. Win, thanks for joining us. Do you expect the market, and I know you're a currency guy, and we will talk about the dollar, but do you expect the equity market to be in a downward trajectory following the announcements today? Because a lot of people think we've already done some work to build a base.
Yeah. First of all, Joe, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come on and chat markets with you. So I'm skeptical about guessing how much has been priced in, because face it, we're all over the place, right? We have many options. That's the problem I think we've had with this tariff rollout. We've had ideas, balloons floated, then taken back. And at this point, it could be either according to reports, either a 20% universal tariff or a more targeted reciprocal tariff approach that can be negotiated, or something in between. So it's hard to price in a moving target. So, I think the markets in general are pessimistic, because all this uncertainty has really weighed on consumer and corporate sentiment. The data has softened a little bit. I'm not really willing to or ready to push the panic button yet, but I have to acknowledge this is uncertain times. I started the year off very bullish on the U.S. economy, the U.S. dollar, but this heightened uncertainty has been a weight. I will just say this: I'm hoping that once this tariff announcement's over, that we can get some clarity and we can kind of move on. Because again, markets hate uncertainty, and let's just get this out of the way.
Have you heard how policymakers parse? When they're asked the question, "Do you want a strong dollar?" They kind of dance around it and say, "Well, we want a stable dollar." It almost sounds like there are some benefits to the dollar not being too strong for exports and trade imbalances, and I don't know, makes paying back that 36 trillion a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, Joe, it's definitely a sea change. Look, ever since Bob Rubin was Secretary of Treasury, it's always been the mantra: a strong dollar is in the best interest of the U.S. And that's carried on through many, many administrations until now. If you read between the lines in some of the policy papers that, for instance, the Scott Bessent, Stephen Meehan have written, between the lines, they would like a weaker dollar. To me, as a currency guy, I always say, be careful what you wish for, because as you know, the market sentiment swings. If you get once you let the genie out of the bottle, it's hard to get it back in. So I think that's one thing that Rubin and his successors would recognize, that it really is in the best interest of the U.S. in terms of attracting foreign investment, et cetera, et cetera. So it's to be determined, but that's unfortunately the sort of kind of weight that's weighing on the dollar. On the other hand, there's also the softer U.S. data, expectation that the Fed may have to cut as a result of a potential recession. Those are all weights against the dollar. Unfortunately, it's changed from just really 3 months ago.
Is there any level of the dollar possible where it would continue to be the reserve currency of the world and continue to attract capital, but you wouldn't just have the excuse that I can print as much as I want because I can deficit spend to my heart's content because I know I've got the dollar in my back pocket to print as many as I want? That's a bad enabling tool for the Fed and for policymakers. And I'm just wondering if there's a happy medium, or is it just king dollar and torpedoes be damned?
Yeah, look, Joe, that's like the $1 million question. We look, face it, we get away with a lot of stuff that we wouldn't otherwise be able to as reserve currency. In a sense, at this point, there's no other rival. The IMF just released its COFR data for Q4 that show the share of dollar reserves inching up a little bit to close to 60%. It's down a little bit from, say, around 65%, say, just 5 years ago. So it's slowly falling, but at the same time, the next biggest share is the euro at just under 20%. So there's really no obvious rival. So I think you and I will be long gone before someone knocks the dollar off its perch. I'd also point out that the Riksbank, the Swedish Riksbank, just recently announced this week that it was increasing its dollar share of reserves to 70% at the expense of the euro and some other currencies. So, the dollar is the most liquid, safest currency. Yes, we are testing limits of the market's appetite. At some point, these deficit numbers will really freak out the markets. We're not there yet. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but we're certainly testing it in a manner that makes, I think, myself and many others very uncomfortable. But for now, there's really no obvious rival.
Right. It's the age-old question, Win. I don't know. I don't know if you can't even verbalize that you want a weaker dollar. You said it. I think you're even the first person that we've asked that said it, but you certainly won't get any administration officials to say that. That could be self-fulfilling, and you're right. Then you can't it's hard to get it back if you lose it. But there are advantages. All right, Win Thin, go ahead. Your final thought?
I know. Again, look. There's so many moving parts. There's the uncertainty, the tariffs, and again, the one thing that we have to remember about tariffs is that you have to look at it in a general equilibrium analysis. If you just say tariffs, hey, we're gonna put tariffs on, the prices will go up, everything will be hunky dory. That's fine, but the general equilibrium analysis has to call into account what other countries are going to do. Are they going to retaliate? And of course they are. And will there be retaliation upon retaliation? So there's all sorts of moving parts that even with this announcement, we may not even know how things really settle for several weeks and months in terms of sort of retaliation from our trading partners. So I'm a student of international trade. I'm not a huge fan of tariffs. There's a limited case for sort of limited targeted tariffs to perhaps protect an industry for national security reasons. But this sort of universal tariff talk is really just a huge tax on U.S. consumers and something that could really derail the economy. I think that's what's really driving this sort of weakness in dollar and equity markets. So stay tuned, Joe.
I agree. Could end up hurting the U.S. consumer. But who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows how things are going to play out, guys. Nobody knows. Ramona with the super chat. Need to make sure you hit your goal. Thank you so much, Ramona. You are absolutely amazing. I appreciate you. Should I buy some XCN right now or no? I mean, listen, DCA is the way. That's what I say. Take that for what you will. My X account is right here, actually. This is my X account here, guys. Make sure you give me a follow. I post a lot of exclusive content to X only videos, a lot of updates on a lot of other projects that we don't cover here on the channel, stuff like Moonwell, things like that. So definitely check it out, guys. Follow me on X, support the channel, help me get it to grow. I only have 2,264 followers. I got to put more work into building it out. Derek would personally wait. Mr. T said pain before it gets better. I paid $33 for 5 dozen eggs. Man, yeah, I eat a lot of eggs too, guys, like a lot. Juan, what's up, buddy? What's up, Big Rob? Is today bullish or what? Maybe a bull trap. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how things play out, right? It's going to be interesting. We don't know what Mr. T is going to have to say today and how the markets are going to respond to it. So at least we're facing some good out of this. I think Canada conceded to not tariff the U.S. Doesn't the Mexico? Yeah, I believe you're right. I believe that you are correct, Liquidity, and that, in fact, I do have another video in a moment from the governor of Ontario talking about that on Squawk Box as well. But first, Bitcoin ETFs could see $3 billion in Q2 inflows even without price recovery, says analyst. Let's have a look. The spot Bitcoin ETFs saw sizable inflows in the first quarter despite delayed price action. And at least one analyst sees the next 3 months as even bigger, even if prices don't recover. Even if current market conditions persist in the second quarter, we are seeing strong traction from financial advisors and institutional investors, said Juan Leon, senior investment strategist at Bitwise. While retail interest is weak due to the fixation on price action, professional investors who recognize the global adoption momentum spurred by the Mr. T administration's embrace of Bitcoin, and many are seeing these market conditions as an opportunity to start or increase an allocation. The ETF saw over $1 billion in inflows over the first quarter of the year, despite a challenging macro situation that sent the S&P 500 index into its biggest quarterly loss since 2022 and Bitcoin's 13% plunge. He expects inflows to be even stronger in the second quarter, as much as $3 billion or even more, as wirehouse platforms unlock the legislative policy progresses. ETF inflows possibly less than meets the eye. The $1 billion in the first quarter of net inflows, and whatever the second quarter brings, doesn't necessarily reflect investor interest, but buying the Bitcoin dip. That's because of the so-called bias trading, also known as cash and carry. In this, institutional players buy the spot Bitcoin ETF while shorting CME Bitcoin futures, picking up yield without exposure to price movements. That yield was well into the double digits in late 2024 and remained nicely above the risk-free rate without much of the first quarter. Its collapse to the 5% area of late suggesting arbitrage-related ETF flows may dry up. While the favorable price environment could certainly be a boost, it's important to remember that adoption of spot Bitcoin ETFs by these groups is still in its infancy, said Nate Garcia, president of the ETF store, who's also bullish on the outlook for the inflows throughout the rest of the year. As they grow more comfortable allocating to Bitcoin, this should provide a meaningful tailwind for inflows. While many institutions have indeed already made their first allocations into Bitcoin in the past year, it represents only a small fraction of the ETF investments, with most of the money still coming from retail investors. Something recently noted by BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, whose IBIT is the asset gathering leader among the spot ETFs. The more favorable regulatory stance towards the industry, not to mention the government's own potential allocation into Bitcoin, however, means that ratio could soon shift significantly. During the ETF conference in Las Vegas earlier last month, a survey showed that 57% of advisors plan on increasing their allocations into crypto ETFs this year, as crypto has lost its reputational risk attributed among investors. The view that Bitcoin could serve as a safe haven in times of economic decline, which investors remain anxious about, could also boost confidence in the asset, especially as fears of a potential recession grow. If we see continued rate cut expectations, signs of economic uncertainty, or deepening fears of a potential recession in the US, Bitcoin's role as a digital gold will likely support additional inflows, said David Simir, CEO of Wave Digital Assets. While some short-term traders may rotate out of price weakness if price weakness persists, long-term players will continue to keep inflows strong, especially as institutional adoption takes off and drives demand throughout the year. So, expecting big inflows for these spot Bitcoin ETFs. Blessed to have a few weeks of fire sale. Thank you, Rob, for inspiring the community. Hey, no problem. So want to double all my bags. Yes, absolutely, man. Super fantastic. Thanks for all you do, Rob. Hey, no problem, brother. No problemo. Okay, so let's get into some more of this news. We got another video here. Now, this is the Premier of Ontario talking tariffs. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, we'd be willing to take our tariffs off if President Trump does. All right, let's have a look.
Tariffs is set to take effect today, and our next guest has been a strong critic of the Trump administration's trade policies. Joining us right now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford. We very much appreciate you joining us this morning. I imagine you're going to be watching and listening to the president later today. But even before we get there, have you had any meaningful conversations with this administration about what these tariffs could look like?
I have, Andrew. And first of all, thanks for having me on. And I always start every interview. Canadians love Americans. I love America. And they're just an incredible neighbor. And saying all that, I had a conversation last week with Secretary Lutnick. and just told them how we feel. It's going to hurt Americans. It's going to hurt American jobs. It's going to hurt investments. We've seen the market tumble. I'm sure it's going to start tumbling again today because people don't want uncertainty. Markets don't want uncertainty. And I've never seen anything like it. Attacking your number one customer, President Trump is, not the American people. President Trump's attacking their number one ally, their number one customer. And it's going to be unfortunate. He calls it Liberation Day. I call it Termination Day because people are going to be losing their jobs across the U.S. You can't just all of a sudden put tariffs on every part and every widget that comes across the border. Ontario alone employs over 9 million people. They wake up every single morning to produce products for Ontario. That's Ontario alone, not mentioning the entire country.
Do you expect this to be a negotiation, meaning there has been a sense implied or otherwise that we're going to hear a number, whether it's 20% or something else, as a sort of top, and that if folks like yourself come forward and say, you know what, we're going to take some tariffs off of this and we're going to do this, perhaps that those tariff numbers come down?
Well, let's hope so. Let's sit down and discuss this because it's just going to hurt American jobs. I can't stress it enough. And, you know, again, he believes he's supporting Americans. He said he was going to create jobs, create wealth, reduce inflation. It's worked the total opposite. Inflation.
But do you think it's fair that you have tariffs on a whole number of products?
That's right. And we'd be willing to take those off tomorrow if he took all the tariffs off. We are not the problem, Andrew. Do you know the problem is? China's the problem. And he's taking a blind eye to China as they continue to build their critical mineral mass. We have all the critical minerals that our great neighbors need. We have the energy that our great neighbors need.
I just want to go back for a moment. If in fact you're prepared to take your tariffs off, why wouldn't you have that negotiation and that conversation now before any tariffs get put in place?
Well, we've had this conversation for over the last month. We don't want tariffs. We have another $65 billion worth of tariffs to launch today. That's the last thing we want to do because it's just, again, it's going to hurt both countries. It's going to hurt American workers. That's the last thing I want.
So Andrew meant take the other ones off, not the ones you're launching today. The ones that you already got.
You're saying you take all your tariffs off. I'm saying
we will take them off. That's right.
Then why is that not? I guess my question is, why has all of that not already happened? And does President Trump know that you'd be prepared to do that?
Here's the thing, real quick, guys. I'm going to chime in for a second. Now, Ford is the premier of Ontario. He's not a national politician, right? So even if Ontario, here's the misunderstanding that's happening here in this dynamic. They're asking him why, if they've said they're willing to lift all tariffs, why are we still going down this road? Well, it's because that's just one province willing to lift the tariffs, which is the equivalent of just one of your states willing to lift the tariffs. It's not a national thing. The national tariffs are still in place because of the fearless leader up here. So that's the disconnect. Ford doesn't have the authority to lift all tariffs nationally on the U.S. That's the disconnect here. I hope that makes sense, guys.
He knows, and Secretary Lutnick knows that we're willing to take these tariffs off like in the next minute if he said he's taking their tariffs off. Let's look at the auto sector.
So how much of this then is some kind of theatrical dance between both yourself, frankly, and the administration? I mean, it sounds to me like if you're prepared to take yours off right now, he should be prepared to take whatever we would implement, and we wouldn't have this conversation. What I can't figure out is whether both of you are waiting so that you can say that you both won in some way.
Andrew, let me be very clear. We didn't start this tariff war. You know, a tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans. Simple as that.
But you've already got tariffs, Mr. Premier. You say you didn't start it. You already have all these existing tariffs that you're willing now to take off. We're putting them on today, right?
Joe, you've had these tariffs. I mean, we're getting tariffed on The auto parts, for example, is a big part of our economy here. And right away, I had a conversation with the Prime Minister this morning, and I can tell you one thing. If he dropped all the tariffs, we'd have zero tariffs. We'd grow as I say, you can't unscramble the egg, you have to make a larger omelet. And I believe in the AMCAN fortress.
Premier, this is the idea that you're prepared to get rid of all of your tariffs is exactly what President Trump wants. And by the way, he would take that as a win. I mean, I think he'd take this interview as a win if in fact you're saying, okay, we'll do no tariffs, because then he should do no tariffs.
That's right. But right now, he's doing tariffs on the vehicles, right? So we're proposing the tariff, I should say. So it's just this tariff war between the two greatest countries is ridiculous. Again, we didn't start this. We want to build the relationship that we've had for 200 years.
I thought you were going to come down and have some conversations about the USMCA and some of that stuff. Maybe that wouldn't be. You did have that. Was there progress? Is it possible to talk about?
I thought it was a great conversation. We're dealing with very bright business people. There's no doubt. Secretary Lutnick is bright. So is the president. I'm not too sure if they understand the supply chain system between Canada and the U.S. It's so integrated. It's been that way in the auto sector since 1965, and it's worked. And we buy as many cars as we sell down there, and the ones we sell down there, 50% of them are made from American parts.
I just want to chime in again there real quick, guys. The argument on Squawk Box I've seen over the last few days, they keep saying, well, the tariffs that Mr. T is putting in place are just to counter the already existing tariffs that Canada has on the U.S., right? And they keep saying, well, you started it because you have tariffs on us. Just to be fully transparent here, the U.S. also has existing tariffs on Canada and has for years. So, but the way it's being delivered on TV here right now is that Canada has tariffs on the U.S. The U.S. has no tariffs on Canada at all. So the U.S. is just trying to make it fair and now apply tariffs to Canada because they don't have any on Canada. That's not true. The U.S. does, in fact, have tariffs on Canada before 2025, before Trump's administration. The U.S. has tariffs notably on softwood lumber since 2018, steel, aluminum, through most tariffs. So the U.S., in fact, does and has always had tariffs on Canada as well. They're not a victim here. They're not this country that, they're saying, well, you have tariffs on us. Okay, but so do you, right? You're not a victim who's getting tariffed and you have no tariffs on anybody else. But that's the story that's being presented. I just want there to be, now I don't care one way or another. I'm just putting all the facts on the table here, right? Anyway.
Compared to Mexico, we buy 400% more cars in Mexico, 200% more than anyone in the world. Let's get back to growing our economy and strengthening our borders from China. As we're sitting here, China is building up their critical minerals and cutting the U.S. off. We have those critical minerals, and there's no one else I want to share them with than our greatest friend and ally.
We had Peter Welch on, the senator from Vermont, earlier, and he pointed out that he's been talking to small and medium and large business owners in Vermont. It is obviously the largest trading partner, Canada, for Vermont. He pointed out how crazy it could get if USMCA wasn't followed under some of these issues. Like if you have timber that is sent from Vermont up to Canada to be milled and cut and then sent back, and it gets tariffed on either side of that, you could be talking about some pretty substantial changes. Are these conversations you have had with members of the Trump administration?
I had the conversation with the Secretary Lutnick. He knows what's at stake. We're the number one customer to the U.S., number one trading partner to 28 states. Again, Ontario alone, Ontario would be your third largest trading partner in the world, over $500 billion of two-way trade. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I just want to build our relationship, strengthen our trade. and keep an eye on the people that don't like us. And there's one country that doesn't like us, and that's China.
What has the administration's response been? Do you feel like you have an understanding of whether there's going to be room to negotiate, or do you feel like you're just waiting to see what happens at 4 o'clock and then see any conversations that take place after that?
Well, I'm hoping there's room to negotiate, because if we don't sit across the table, this just escalates. We need to bring the heat down right now, and come with common sense solutions. And I'd be down there tomorrow to talk to Secretary Lutnick. I talked to him the other night and asked him, what are we expecting April 2nd? And he said he wasn't sure. Now, I don't know if he was blowing smoke or he really didn't know what to expect. Maybe it's the latter. But I have a great deal of respect for Secretary Lutnick. He's a smart person, smart business person. We need to get rid of these tariffs and focus on our real enemies around the world.
Doug, I was looking for an article I saw recently that said Canada, one thing they can do to just reset their entire economy is just to embrace the energy that you're able to provide in such an energy resource. Do you think Mark Carney, do you support him? Is he the right guy to be leading Canada at this point with his,
Nope.
I don't know, he talked about climate justice and climate this, climate that. I don't know. He definitely is a zealot. Is that the guy that you would prefer to be running the country when you need fossil fuels and exporting fossil fuels?
Yeah, and I'm not going to jump in the middle of that.
Oh, please do.
No, just hear me out for a minute. I'm not jumping into the federal election, but I will tell you, I believe he believes in building pipelines all the way east, all the way west, another one south, and another one north. I believe in the critical minerals. He believes in one-window permits, so we can get that critical minerals shipped down to our closest friends and allies. We have more critical minerals than anywhere in the entire world, and there's one place I want to ship them, and that's down to the U.S. And we have 33 of the most critical minerals right on your doorstep. 50% of the high-grade nickel that the U.S. uses for their military, for their aerospace and manufacturing comes from Ontario. Let's ship you more. Let's ship you more electricity.
I guess getting back to our original point that Andrew was making, you're talking about the retaliatory tariffs that Trump's putting on, and you kind of keep dodging the point about the original tariffs that were already existing that Canada had, and why not get
right there? See that? The existing tariffs that Canada already has. The U.S. already has existing tariffs on Canada as well. That's what I'm saying. They don't give you the full facts here. They don't give you the full facts.
Rid of those, and then maybe there wouldn't even be retaliatory tariffs. Why not do that first?
Well, I think he has to look at the tariffs that he's put on Canada. I think we need to sit down and let's get back to a USCA deal instead of a USMCA deal, because Mexico is bringing in cheap parts from China, slapping on a Made in Mexico sticker and costing American and Canadian jobs. So let's sit down, clear the slate, and let's move forward.
I don't like the narrative across the board from any of them, guys, if I'm being honest. Yeah, Ford's playing a victim just as much as Mr. T is, right? There's no victims here. And this whole the whole story of like, oh, but Canada has existing tariffs on the US already. And the US has existing tariffs on Canada already from years ago as well, right? Again, I can't preface enough the narrative that's going around that's like the U.S. doesn't have any tariffs on anybody before Trump came in and they're just being taken advantage of. No, they have just as many tariffs across the world as everybody else. Well, maybe not just as much. I mean, China is ridiculous. They're like, I think they tariff everything that comes out of China into the U.S. by like 100%. That's insane, right? That is insane. It will not hurt American jobs, and why is he ignoring its reciprocal? Well, again, Gary, like I said, you're falling for the narrative that I just said, right? Again, they're saying that, so the reciprocal tariffs for the existing tariffs that Canada already has on the U.S. However, the U.S. has just as many tariffs on Canada right now currently that already have existed for years. The U.S. isn't sitting there with zero tariffs on anybody. Is that the impression that you have right now, Gary? Right? So you're like, so this is basically it. Canada's taxing the U.S. The U.S. is taxing Canada for decades. And then the U.S. says, hey, you're taxing us, so we're going to put reciprocal taxes on your taxes. Okay, but you're taxing us too. You're not a victim here, right? I don't know. I don't think some people get it, but either way, I don't care either way. I mean, listen, you guys know I plan on moving down to the States. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Are you planning on, I think I'm going to try to, yeah, I think it's at 3:00 my time. I'll try. It's starting to get a little bit tight. It's already it's already 20 after 2 here, and I got some one-on-one coaching calls that I got to do. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. But right now, Bitcoin's dropped back down below the 200-day SMA at 86,200. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this day plays out. China has very low pay wages. The 100% tariff is a lower dollar amount than the U.S. did. 100% tariffs. I'm not too sure. What state did you decide moving to? I haven't decided which state I'm going to move to yet. We're going to have to do like a tour of the states to figure out where we want to move to. It's got to be a place that has, like, you know, summer and winter kind of thing. Somewhere like Colorado-ish, I guess. I don't know. We're going to visit a lot of the different states and see. Good morning, Rob, from down under. Nice. Wendy Wu in the house. Good to see you. Forbes playing a repeat. Yeah. All right, guys, listen. I mean, it's going to be an exciting afternoon. We'll see what happens, right? Either way, guys, you got to keep the mentality of win-win, right? Be prepared if the market goes down to be able to take advantage of the situation, and be prepared if the market goes up. Let's go. Either way, it's a win-win. You got to have a winner's mindset, guys. Winner's mindset, right? Find the win in every direction the market goes. I will see you guys a little bit later today. I got to go do some one-on-one coaching calls on the Patreon. Guys, if you want to book a one-on-one coaching call over on the Patreon, get over there, guys. Let's have a look at your portfolio. Let's make sure that you're pointed in the right direction here to maximize ROI. We're live over there every single day. Also, get yourself a self-custody wallet, Decent self-custody wallet. Guys, they are the sponsor of the channel. Use our link, get a phenomenal deal. I will see you guys a little bit later tonight. I'll see if I can stream Mr. T's conference or whatever he's, you know, his whole tariff thing. But I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace. Stay positive. Find the win, guys.